It was very cool. I was actually not worried because a few bands I'm involved with, you can't be in unless you drink and party. So like, I'm a veteran. Like I get it. I know how to party. I can do it. And every other tour I've done, you drink every day. But going into it, I've heard like, oh, it's the bus. Like your liver's going to hurt because you're going to, drink all day and da-da-da. And, I was prepared for it. But I guess, again, I'm getting slightly older and I need a little bit more sleep. And it was probably a little bit more tamer than I thought it was going to be. And that was for the best. You got to get your rest, dude. You got to have rest. And having the bus, which was my first bus tour, it was amazing. I could go take a nap. I could sleep 12 hours in the night if I wanted to. I don't think I ever did, but yeah, it was great.
Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcast, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians, talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. I hope you've had a killer weekend. I most certainly did. This Vox and Hops episode is presented by Heavy Montreal. Heavy Montreal are Montreal's premier metal promoter. And trust me when I say this, if you are ever in Montreal and you want to go see a killer metal show, Heavy Montreal will have you covered. I am beyond stoked to have Heavy Montreal behind the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I'd just like to ask you to follow the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. But more than that, I would love for you to tell a friend about the podcast. If there's someone in your life that just loves extreme music, in-depth conversations, and also loves craft beer, well, you should definitely let them know that the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast exists. If you would encourage one of your friends to become a brand new Vox and Hops head, that would be something that I would truly appreciate. Now, this week on the podcast, I'm very stoked to be with Travis LaBerge of Splattered and Almost Dead. Get ready, everyone. This is Vox and Hops episode number 460.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm very stoked to be with Travis LaBerge of Splattered. I met you on tour, the Unquestionable Blasphemy tour that we just finished 2 weeks ago. It's been about 2 weeks we're home. You were out there playing bass for Almost Dead. We really got along, and I intended to conduct an interview with you on the road. But for some reason, I have a hard time conducting interviews on the road recently, so we scheduled it afterwards. Here we are. Long introduction just to say, Travis, how you doing?
I'm great, my friend. It's great to see you. Great to see you.
Yeah, I feel like, you live on a bus with people. We were, how many? We were 23 people counting the drivers on that bus, which it was surprisingly a quiet bus, believe it or not. It was, you never know who you're going to get on these tours, right? Like you sort of like know the characters of other bands, you know what you're going to get into, but sometimes there's these wild cards. And I was worried that some of these wild cards would just be crazy, right? Because we're a little bit older. And Cryptopsy, we do like to have fun, but we're sort of tame in some sort of way there. We don't want to be too crazy. And the bus was actually pretty quiet for 23 people.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone was really cool, man. I still talk to half the people, to this day. But it was kind of quiet some nights, and others we had some fun. But it was a great time.
Some back lounge parties with Flo DJing, with the same 3 songs on repeat throughout 4 weeks, which is okay. I haven't listened to Tom York since I got home, and I feel okay about that.
Oh, it was always a good time, man. Always a good time.
Hell yes. But I definitely felt like a connection with you right away. You knew Christian Donaldson because he worked with Splattered. Chris had mentioned that you were a cool dude. I had interviewed Tony and Zach before the run, so I sort of got their vibe. So it was like right away I knew that Almost Dead were going to be super cool. And I felt like a kinship with you. So I'm happy that we're doing this so I can dig deeper into your psyche to get more about you, so I can spread the word about who you are to the Vox and Hops heads listening. All of this talking is making me thirsty. Vox and Hops is all about hanging out with my metal friends, talking about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. What beer do you got on your side tonight, Travis, that we're going to be sharing virtually?
Okay, I have 2 beers. I am unapologetically myself, always have been, so I'm gonna rock you with a Bud Light. But I also, really like to help support the local businesses, and I love Ghost Town.
Oh, hell
so
yes.
Ghost Town is Ghost Town's one of my favorite breweries around. They are opening a new one in Alameda soon, a little island next to Oakland. And this is Inhume. They've had for a long time. It's an IPA. Always been a big fan. They had a Necrot beer called Despondency, I believe. That one was really good. So I'm going to go ahead and crack the old Bud Light here, and I have a special cup I brought.
Oh, that's cool.
No joke. I bought this for my wife for Christmas, and she was not stoked, but yet she uses it every day. So.
People watching at home, listening at home, you'll have to go watch the video because I will not say what it says, but I'm not Australian and I'm not from the UK, so I'm not allowed to say it. It's basically
exactly.
You guys can figure it out. On my side, I'm drinking local heroes, the best brewery from Canada, from Montreal, from Quebec. We crowned them the best brewery of Quebec this past year when I did that with my friends from the beer industry. This is Messorem Brassatorium, literally the best. Very good friends of Dom, too, who was filling in for Cryptopsy. This is just a simple little IPA, 6.3%, and they got Nectaron, Superdelic, and YET. YET, it's definitely all New Zealand hops. New Zealand hops are all the rage, and so are like low ABV.
Interesting.
Low ABV IPAs are becoming like something much more prevalent. The whole like 7% IPA is disappearing, and everyone's making these monster hazes with New Zealand hops.
Okay.
It's milky. Okay. It's
Cheers,
awesome.
Buddy.
Cheers to
Cheers.
you. So Travis said, take me to your beer life, because on this tour, I like to drink responsibly a few beers each day, and you seem to be that type of guy too. You would wake up and early in the morning, you were typically one of the first people to be cracking a beer. So take me back to your very first beer.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's hard for me to remember exactly what the first beer was, but I remember like being a kid, cracking some cold ones for the old man, get a little taste on your finger there, that kind of thing. I do remember one of the first beers was a 40-ounce still reserve malt liquor, and that was also the first time I got laid, so it's kind of hard to forget that one.
Oh.
But, yeah, I mean, other than that, man, it was probably a Miller High Life or a Bud Light, some crappy, piss beer that we have out here in the States.
And we did talk a lot about Ghost Town. And so talk to me about your appreciation of the supporting the local, not just Bud Lights, the craft beer enthusiasts. You are a little bit, but maybe not as crazy as I am and some of the other dudes on the tour where we would go hunting for stuff every day. Talk to me about discovering the finer side of beer.
I have a lot of friends that are into it. I'll drink really anything, but, once the craze started, of course, you got to try the IPA. I think the big one around here was Lagunitas. That one like blew up, and they're heavy and they're good. But for me, it's I'll have one usually, and then I'll kind of go back to the lighter beer, like the blondes or whatever, the pale ales or something like that, or just the piss beers for the rest of the night. But I do, like I said, have a lot of friends that are into beer, and they kind of take me around and show me some stuff. And I'm not a big fan of like the super dark coffee or chocolate beers too much. Not too knowledgeable, but I know what I like. And, Ghost Town has always got some cool stuff, especially because it's metal as shit. So we like to go there a lot. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. They've collaborated with Vox&Hops a bunch of times, and I love going there. And when we played at the DNA Lounge, which is funny because we always ended up playing in Oakland. Whenever I would come through San Francisco area, Cryptopsy for many years, I only played San Francisco, I think, maybe on the Summer Slaughter tour and then on the Cannibal Corpse run. But every other run that I've ever done, we played that room there, that big open broken room in Oakland, which is basically
the Oakland Metro.
Yes, exactly. I think so, which is very close to Ghost Town. And then when I come back and I want to go to Ghost Town, I was playing in San Francisco at the DNA Lounge, and I had to take a $35 Uber ride there and back. So yes. It was well worth it, but it's just the irony of it all has not escaped me or my wallet. But
Yeah, the Oakland Metro is awesome, man. That was one of my favorite venues, and I say was because it is gone now.
It was definitely it was an old place, but
yeah, and it did move a few spots down the road there in that kind of industrial area of Oakland, but it's unfortunately gone now. But they're doing some sort of like outdoor shows, like Exodus will play and Necrot and stuff like that. You know, it's cool. I haven't been to one yet, but yeah, I miss it. That was my favorite local venue for sure.
There was a killer soul food place right down the street from there. It was so good, and they had vegan options. It was ungodly good. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it was so goddamn good. But Ghost Town fucking rules, and I'm definitely coming when I swing through in the next close to you there. But you're coming out to that show too.
I'll be there for sure. We can, if you got time, I'll come out early. We can hit Ghost Town together. I'll pick you up and take you guys
playing
over.
2 nights in each city. So we come out the second night, and I got all day.
All right, I'll be there.
So we don't got to drive. That's right. Cryptopsy is hitting the road with Death to All. I'll drop a little ad in the podcast for you all. Grab your tickets. Come party with us. Death to All with Cryptopsy going on all across the states from May till June. It's going to be a blast. And you should come party with Travis if, you know. Where is that? We're playing a brewery.
It's called Cornerstone in Berkeley.
Correct.
And it is a great venue.
Fantastic.
Half of it is a brewery burger spot, and the other half is the venue. And I did at one point put on a festival, and we did it there the last year. It's a great venue, really good people, good beer. They have Ghost Town there, and good food.
So I'll spend my first night at the Cornerstone Brewery, and I'll enjoy those beers, and then I'll go to Ghost Town with you the next day.
Yeah, drink the same thing. We'll do it.
We're planning ahead. I like it. Well, the hypothetically be fresher the second day, but you don't know. You never know.
There you go.
I'd love to hear about the soundtrack of your youth when you were growing up in your parents' or guardians' house. What music was playing when you were not in control of the radio? What music did your parents or guardians listen to?
So growing up, a lot of music in my family. My parents didn't play it like instrument wise, but they were really into it. They'd always have music playing in the background. Beach Boys was one of the big ones. I made some notes. Billy Joel. My dad's super into Billy Joel. I love Billy Joel. Paula Cole. I don't know if you remember her. She did the Dawson's Creek song.
I don't want to live, but I want to be
yeah. So she was into that stuff. The Who, the Beatles, Eric Clapton. You know, my dad listened to a little bit of Metallica, sometimes Guns N' Roses, a tiny bit of Motley Crue, stuff like that. But there was like a local kind of shitty jazz station called K-Fog, and they would like always play that. I don't know if you know that song.
No, not off the top of my head.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's all instrumental. But yeah, that was like the main song. Anyway, so that, you know, there was always like music going on. And then my grandfather was a touring musician.
Really?
And he was also a traveling salesman, and met his wife, my grandmother, on the road. They had a couple kids, my dad being one of them. And then, you know, he went off and did his own thing. But supposedly the story was that if you got him drunk enough, he could sing like Frank Sinatra. I only ended up meeting him 2 or 3 times, but
he was a singer.
I'd like to think, yeah. And I'd like to think I got the whole, you know, itch for touring and music from him, maybe. But, you know,
I like that too. I've have a similar story in my family, but before I go there is that we are basically exactly that. We are touring musicians that are also traveling salesmen. Exactly.
T-shirts, you know, T-shirt salesman, man.
Dude, that's all my mind is thinking about leading up to this Death to All tour.
Yeah, well, you
thinking about building the store. It's unbelievable. Things have really evolved from just writing a song, right? You know.
Oh yeah, I'm cracking the second one here, brother.
Hell yes, I love your volume per rhythm.
I try. I pee a lot, but I try. You know.
Me too. We had that in common too. You're like, I wake up 2 times a night to go pee. I was like, me too.
Dude, minimum.
My uncle, or my father's uncle, apparently would go into a bar and they would just pay his drinks and he would sing all night. And I like to think that I got it from him. So
there you go.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's in the family. It runs in the family, you know?
Yeah, I guess it has to come from somewhere, right?
There you go.
What out of all those musicians that your parents exposed you to, what would have been the one that like grabbed you first?
Probably Billy Joel, to be honest. I mean, dude, the guy's got bangers.
Yeah.
I mean, like easily 10 I could name off the top of my head, maybe. Don't put me on the spot, but, you know, just incredible musician. And besides him, oh, God, what's the guy's name? He sings Cheeseburger in Paradise. Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
Dude, that song changed my childhood.
Really?
I'm pretty sure I love cheeseburgers so much to this day because of that song. It was that song, you know, it was the Beach Boys and it was Billy Joel. That was kind of the three that really kickstarted it. But the reason why I really got into playing music was Stevie Ray Vaughan. I saw a live concert of Stevie Ray Vaughan. At the time I wanted to play, or at least I thought I wanted to play drums.
Where did that come from? Where did the drums?
I don't know, man. My mom told me when I was a kid, I did the whole thing in the kitchen with
Pots
the
and
pots
pans.
and pans. Yeah. Maybe that was the only thing I could get my hands on. Now, she did tell me also that I took her tennis racket. No, I'm sorry. It was a violin. She had a violin. I ripped everything off of it and pretended it was a guitar. So there was that. But yeah, I think it was the Stevie Ray Vaughan live concert I saw on TV. And I knew even then, like, dude, there's no way I'm ever going to play like that. But there was something about the guitar and the sound coming out of that guy.
How old were
really
you at that point? That
Oh, dude, like, I don't know, 8 years old or something.
wow, okay.
Yeah. So I knew, you know, even then, like, I wanted to play music. And then I didn't start, you know, joining bands until sophomore year of high school, second year of high school. And it was around the time Blink-182 came out. So my musical journey, you know, started in punk rock for sure. I knew about some metal stuff, Metallica stuff like that.
Was that because the guitar playing was simpler? And I'm not down talking punk rock music in general.
No, I get it.
But there's a huge leap from Stevie Ray Vaughan down to Blink-182, you know, like playing.
Oh, big time.
You know, so as a kid, it seems more obtainable is what I'm getting at.
Correct. Yeah, big time. And then I knew I wanted to, you know, eventually tour and play shows, and that was way more obtainable for me. And yeah, so, you know, I graduated high school 2004. So I think like 2001, you know, around that time
Is when you started getting into bands.
Big time. Yeah, big time. Like head
Punk
over
rock.
heels, you know.
Cover
I mean,
bands.
there was some mix of metal. There was a mix of metal in there too.
Was it like
you know,
cover bands,
but,
or was it inspired by what was going on at the time?
You mean like what I was playing?
Yeah, was it like covers, or were you guys like composing, or was it a mix of both?
The first actual band I joined was called Spoken Thoughts, and it was in the vein of punk rock for sure. And it was all original stuff, you know what I mean? Like terrible sappy love lyrics and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But it was a lot of fun, and you know, that's kind of what kickstarted it. Of course, you'd mess around and play like a Queen song or whatever, you know, to try and do some fun stuff here and there. But it was all original stuff. I've actually never been in a cover band. I've always wanted to do covers.
Yeah, because like, typically the high school move is like you have like your original stuff, and then you're like playing a party, and then you pull out a cover, and then everyone likes you all of a sudden because it's a song they've heard on the radio, you know, or seen on MTV back in the day.
Yeah, we used to do a Green Day song,
There
"Time of
you
Your
go.
Life," you know, and that one was the "Play It Again," you know.
Yeah, we just played
song,
it, but
so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
play Fumble File again.
Yeah, yeah, Jerry. Oh,
Yeah, that's funny. So all of this, I think we got ahead of ourselves. I'd like to hear about like the first. Do you remember the first show you went to go see?
Oh, that was the Beach Boys.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I wish I'd never seen the Beach Boys. Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, there, you know, only, I don't know, half of them were there, you know. But it was really cool because growing up, I knew all the songs, and it was at the Concord Pavilion. Like Megadeth played there a couple of years ago. It's an outdoor venue, but it was really fun, you know, sit on the grass and that kind of thing and hang out. So that was one of the first ones. I did see Eric Clapton with my dad, probably the second show. And then when I started kind of going out on my own, I do like the Vans Warped Tour stuff. God, I don't know. As far as like metal, I think one of the first metal shows I went to was local All Shall Perish, which just got back together, by the way.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I've been waiting for 11 years for that. I've always been a fan. They've been local guys. I know some of them. Ben and Carlos do We Need merch, so I always print my merch through those dudes. But yeah, that was probably the first local show. Was All Shall Perish and some other bands like From a Second Story Window and like Amir, stuff like that. So it kind of kick-started that whole thing, you know.
Well, good on your parents for bringing you to good music, good live shows. I strive to do the same with my kids. So
there you go.
To give them like a proper education outside of just whatever's happening in pop mediocrity.
Yeah, I hear you. I fully agree, man. My son Trey, who's almost 4. Sorry, no, shit. He's almost 5. I have a few of them. I believe the Cornerstone is all ages. So
oh shit,
I might bring him out.
We play early, so he can come hang out and then take off. Catch like a few death songs and then take off.
There you go. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling it out with the wife and see what's going on. I will bring her for sure, and you know,
looking forward to meeting her.
Go out and do stuff.
Yes, we do.
She's
a date night.
Person,
every couple listening, a date night per month. Very important. I just did one with my wife, and it was wonderful.
Good. Right on, man. Good to hear.
Love it.
Very important. Very important.
And then you started playing in these bands. You remember your first show, first time on stage? You remember that feeling out, you know, because you wanted to play guitar since you were 8 years old. You played guitar probably by yourself for many, many, many years. Finally get into a band later in high school, and then here you are, you're on stage. Were you ready? What was the vibe inside you?
Always nerves, even to this day, a little bit, you know.
Same, totally.
But you know, from what they say, if you don't have the butterflies going on, then something's wrong, you know? So still got that going on, but yeah, you know, I was nervous. I totally remember it. It was a local little like Vets Hall venue thing. I don't think they do shows there anymore. And we were playing with a bunch of, you know, metal bands. And at the time it was, you know, what I was doing was not very metal. So, you know, they're kind of poking fun at us a little bit and stuff like that. But we had a bunch of our friends there that like printed shirts with our faces on it and shit. So that was, it was cool. It was cool. It was a fun time. There was that. And I think even before that, we did like in high school, we did like the quad, you know, we played at lunch a few songs. That might've been the first one, but, you know, and then right after that, you did the like Battle of the Bands crap. We played Slims in San Francisco, which was really cool. And it was packed. Like
that's
no one
awesome.
knew who we were, but my parents were there and like,
that's sick.
So that was super fun. But yeah, man, I mean, I still love it.
I know. Yeah. I'd love to like transport back and watch that first show just to see, because it doesn't exist on YouTube, but I think we're almost the same age or about 4 years younger than me. It doesn't exist the way that it exists for people now when they play their first shows. It exists on the internet. Ours don't.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah, true. Very true. I mean, I might find some pictures or something, but
I got pics,
I don't know.
but yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But to go back and like witness it, and because sometimes you thought you were really good and maybe you weren't.
Probably not very good, but in here you're great.
We met because you were filling in on bass for Almost Dead. Love those guys. I hope they're listening to this. You listening to a podcast? That was for Zach. I'm going to keep it in, even though I should probably cut it. But I hope you're listening, Zach. Is that something you've done before? Basically, filling in for a band, stepping in, taking on someone else's position. Is that something you've done before?
At this point now, in the last like 4 or 5 years, yeah, big time. Quick little story on what's been going on. So I do play bass in a slam band from Las Vegas called Cerebral Incubation. And they've been around for about 15 years. I was a fan for a very long time. So I joined them about 4 years ago now. And Splattered, I started 11 years ago, and dude, we haven't done anything for a year and a half. We might not do anything for a while. It was kind of like an unspoken hiatus situation. So A little bit before that is when I joined Cerebral to kind of fill some time. And Splattered's now not doing much, and Cerebral's not doing much. Yeah. So local band is called Choking Game, and I play guitar in that band. And it is female fronted, which is really cool and unique. It is a mix of power violence, grind, hardcore, punk, metal, short songs. Nothing's over like 2.5 minutes kind of a thing. This girl has an amazing voice, and it's really cool to be able to step out of like the brutal death metal world and kind of go into something completely different. Like I said, like I love punk rock, and I also love hardcore and like grind, like the band Nails and stuff like that. You know, I like all that stuff. So it's a good mix, and it's very cool and interesting right now to be able to play local shows where a bunch of young kids are like all age shows at like a skate shop in San Francisco, and it's packed to the gills and everyone's fucking pitting and going crazy. Like that just doesn't happen a lot with Splattered, you know, as far as like the movement and the pitting and the crazy energy and stuff. And like, I obviously love doing that still and playing those songs with those guys, but you know, I'm all about that energy and that vibe, and it's so fun, dude. So I've done about 4 or 5 shows with them so far, and it's really cool. But, you know, once the opportunity with Tony and Zach and the Almost Dead boys kind of popped up, because I've known them for about 5 or 6 years now. They've come out to a bunch of shows, and so I've known them for a while. But once that popped up, you know, me and Tony sat down and talked about it, and, you know, the first word out of his mouth was, yeah, we're going on a tour in Europe with Crypt Top. I'm like, who? Yeah, I'm down. Let's go. Let's make it happen, baby. So yeah, you know, that's why I jumped on that, and we'll most likely continue playing with those guys. You know,
yes.
I think there's, that's the plan. We actually met last Sunday, so
good.
A couple of days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, to have a couple drinks and talk about what's going down the pipeline and you know, and all that good stuff. So.
Hell yes, that makes me super, super happy. So you're a busy guy. You seem to be at a point, like a crossroads of taking a step away from stuff, not saying goodbye, but just putting. You're like tossing pots around on burners. It sounds like,
dude. You know what, man? I have a really good friend, Matt Kilner, and he plays in Gorgasm and Vitriol and all these rad bands. He's an extremely good drummer, but we hang out all the time. And a couple of years ago, we were on tour together, and we had a very important conversation that kind of has stuck with me. And the conversation was that, you know, he asked me, like, what is the most important thing for you with your own musical journey? And for me, it's playing live, dude. Like, I love writing. I love recording. I love meeting up and rehearse, like every single thing that has to do with being in a band I enjoy. But what I love the most is playing live. Okay. So if, you know, some of the projects I'm involved with are not as busy, then I gotta do, dude, I'm not getting any younger. I'm 38. I gotta play. So, yeah, you know, I just gotta keep on going.
Hell yes, that makes me happy. That means I'm going to see more of you. I'm being selfish in this, and it makes me very, very happy. We just wrapped up a tour. We spoke about that a little bit. Let's talk about some silly memories. So some somewhat PG. Let's not name too many names.
Okay.
You got the plague at some point.
Yeah,
there was a bus plague that went through the bus.
Yeah,
it started in some camp that I won't bring up, but if they're listening to this, they know that I'm accusing them. And then it spread its way to other people in the bus, because as I mentioned, we were 23 people on the bus, and it's extremely difficult to not share germs when you're that close to each other, despite any type of, you know, we can try our best, but it's basically impossible where we're breathing the same air.
Oh, dude, it happens every time.
So you were down and out for like a day, I want to say. I can't remember where we were, though. You must remember.
I believe it. Oh, God. Was it Belgium? It was the very artsy warehouse venue.
Oh, yes. It was Belgium.
Was
that was Belgium
okay.
Date. Yeah.
So what happened was, it was like probably the day before that. Can't remember where we were, but I remember kind of feeling it a little bit after we played. And I was like, I'm going to take it a little easy. So I had, 15 beers instead of 20 beers. And and then the next day, dude, it was like, I could have powered through it, but I knew that if I just took the day and rested, that I'd get over it quicker and I could get back to partying, which is the most important thing other than playing music, and having fun with everybody. But yeah, that entire day, dude, I slept, got up, loaded in, slept, sound checked, slept, played, and then went back to bed. And so that was that. And it wasn't that bad. Like, I've gotten COVID on tour before, and it's brutal. Yeah. In 20,
just
beginning of 22,
out. Just sweating it out.
Big time. But that was when you don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I'm just sick. It's just a cold.
Very sick. I tested negative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, super spreading around the country, But
we know it got all of us basically, and it would last for one day and then it'd go away. But you seem to have got it just a little bit worse than I got it. I don't know. I had like a day, and I was like, and then I was just better.
Well, yeah. After Belgium, I felt pretty good, and I was like, all right, I'm back, and I started drinking, and then that day I was like, I
think I'm going to take it easy again.
Yeah, a little easier, and then after that, dude, I was good to go. It was awesome. It wasn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse. So, and I don't know if everyone got it. Oof. Did everybody get it?
I feel like it went through all of Cryptopsy, but very mildly.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I don't remember. I think Zach actually ended up feeling a little.
Well, he's a machine.
A little crappy on one. Yes, he is, and he's a good-looking dude.
Very good-looking. You're very good-looking, Zach. I hope you're listening. Continuing on the Almost Dead train, something interesting that did happen, aside from the fact that you were also filling in, is that there were two drummers on the tour. One that started off, Ryan, and then the other one that came in to wrap it up. Talk to me about having two different drummers, two different vibes. Talk to me about that. It's an interesting thing. It was interesting within the bus to have two different people come in, and then you get used to a dynamic, and then someone new comes in right away. But it sort of almost happened at the same time as Monastery, the Hungarian band, stepped off, and the other drummer's name is Scotty. Just came to me, sorry. So it was Ryan and Scotty. Ryan went home basically around the same time as the Hungarians went home, Monastery, and then 72 Legions jumped on with Scotty, basically the same show, I want to say. So there was this switch within the bus. How did that feel in the band to have a new member? It's a very interesting thing.
This is the first band I've ever been involved with where we're using in-ears. So there's a click track, and there's, things going on that we can, keep on time and stay together and that kind of thing. But that said, yes, I mean, it is different. To back up, the majority of the practices that I did with the band at Tony's house was with Scotty.
Oh, interesting.
And so Ryan, I only played with maybe once and did one local show at Cornerstone. And then, it was just Scotty the rest of the time. And so I guess I was a little nervous because, one, I didn't really know Ryan at all. And two, I didn't really play with him a whole lot, but he was the one that was on the record, the last record, and is in the band. And then I guess the whole situation was that he, because of work, couldn't get off that last 2 weeks. I know that he was pretty bummed at the end right there before he left, and we wanted to stay the whole time. We love you,
Ryan. It was a pleasure to have you around. You were fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. But then having Scotty come in and dude, look, man, we were just playing with a different drummer for 2 weeks. We were locked in, yes, we have the in-ears, but there's always going to be a little bit of a change or a hump you got to hop over a little bit, changing, especially a drummer,
the whole personality.
Drummers involved. Yeah. And that too. Yeah. Everyone's
no, like a playing personality is what I was saying, but there's also the actual human personality.
Right. Yeah. But, I thought it was decently seamless, and, I'm fond of both guys, and Scotty came in and did a great job.
Super fun. The whole bus vibe was just amazing. Just everyone it was just chill, easygoing, party atmosphere, but not too much. Everyone, it's like a bunch of seasoned traveling musicians, touring musicians together. It was just easy.
It was very cool. I was actually not worried because a few bands I'm involved with, you can't be in unless you drink and party. So like, I'm a veteran. Like I get it. I know how to party. I can do it. And every other tour I've done, you drink every day. But going into it, I've heard like, oh, it's the bus. Like you're going to have your liver's going to hurt because you're going to, drink all day and da-da-da. And, I mean, I was prepared for it, but I guess, again, I'm getting slightly older and I need a little bit more sleep. And it was probably a little bit more tamer than I thought it was going to be. And that was for the best. You got to get your rest, dude. You got to have rest. And having the bus, which was my first bus tour, it was amazing. I could go take a nap. I could sleep 12 hours in the night if I wanted to. I don't think I ever did, but yeah, it was great.
Something that people don't know about bus tours is that for tall people, it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's and now we're like, this is like we're princess complaining, but for tall people, I'm not tall. Like, the problem is I don't have this problem, but you literally can't stretch out in the bunk because they're built to a certain size, and tall people can't physically stretch out the way you would when you sleep in bed.
Very true. Although if I laid fully on my back, I had a half an inch, like no joke. And I'm like I'm 6'3", dude, and I had half an inch till it hit my head, so I could stretch out.
Okay, so what's the fetal position?
I got to sleep on my left side, fetal position, no matter what, because of the heartburn, and
that's funny.
The indigestion and stuff like that. But dude, I had my backpack and a whole row of shit behind me, so I'm, you should have seen Tony's bunk, dude. It was full of stuff.
Really?
Pizza boxes.
No.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. One night he had a pizza box in there. He's like, check it out, dude. Full pizza. Yeah.
You did choose the right bunk because you had the only bunk with a drawer underneath it.
Yeah. 2 drawers. I had 2 drawers, dude. Ryan stole one of my drawers after he figured out that I had drawers, but
I would have stolen the drawers.
I didn't even realize they were there. I thought everyone had them, and about 4 days in, I'm like, what is that? And so I started putting my shoes in there because, a lot of people have the stuff above. The people on the top would have like a shelf above their bunk. They could put all their stuff. And, so after a while I discovered those, and then I was kind of looking around. My bunk might've been like a little shorter height wise
to have the
because
drawers.
Of those.
I don't know why they would put those there. It's so interesting.
It was, dude, not a single other bunk had them, but I was stoked, I was stoked. And I was close to the bathroom, which was the most important thing.
That's where I always choose mine because we have the bladder.
There you go. There you go, man. Got to be close to the bathroom.
First night at home, I slept, and then I woke up in the morning. Or I think I woke up in the middle of the night, and I went back to sleep, and I realized how loud the bus was. Despite the fact that we weren't crazy partiers, there's still like people talking and the door opening and slamming and people going downstairs.
Oh, dude.
Just like there's constant noise going on. And I only realized that once I got home, how poorly I was sleeping.
Yeah.
But
dude, the slamming of the door. And I was pretty close to the back lounge. It was just like,
yeah, they loved it. Yeah.
I was like, God damn. But, I have these like killer Beats, the headphones, and they have the noise canceling option. So I'd kick those suckers on and put on Adele or whatever, and crash out to some tunes and
then wake up to your Beats telling you that the batteries are dead.
Yeah, exactly.
10% left. That would happen to me. And then you wake up and you lose one of them, and you're like, "Where the fuck is it?" It's always in your bunk, but you're so paranoid.
Exactly, and I got to sleep on my side, so somehow they have that option where if you push it, it kicks off. Anyway,
yeah. But, once again, we're complaining about living on a tour bus, but
yeah, still amazing. Best tour I've ever been on, dude.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Something else that we shared in common is that we're both fathers, and we're both on tour, and we both communicated with our families as much as we could. And I popped in on some of your Zooms, FaceTimes, say hi to your kids. You might have FaceTimed them from a bar once or twice.
maybe a metal club,
in Glasgow, hypothetically, but
yeah.
I find it hard being away. Do you find it hard being away? As much as we love performing, it comes with you got to travel. So how do you deal with that?
Big time. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's it's hard. It's really hard. You know, I have a 2.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old. And, you know, especially for me in the beginning, like the first week and a half, 2 weeks, it's really tough. Especially the first like few days. You're just like, oh my God, you wake up and you want to be with them. You know, like I go to work and like about halfway through every day, I'm like, oh, I just want to get home and like, you know, hang out with the kids and hold them and play with them and stuff like that. Cause they're just, you know, such a huge part of your life and everything and you theirs. But yeah, I don't know, man, as far as dealing with it, you know, I don't want anyone to take this like the wrong way, but the first 2 weeks, I think about it a little bit more. Like you see a dad walking around with his kid and you're like, oh man, you know what I mean? But it's, I don't know. It's some kind of weird thing where I don't get used to it, but
maybe you become more calloused almost like to your emotions.
Yeah, it's like
develop this callous.
Yeah.
Cause I feel the same too.
In the most respectful way. Yeah. You know, you just kind of get used to waking up and not, you know, being there, but you still miss them. And the other really hard part is the time difference of like the 8 or 9 hours. I'm on the West Coast of California, and I believe we were 9 hours ahead
at first. Yeah.
So, you know, we were out at our metal clubs, and it was like, I don't know, whatever, 2:00 in the morning for us. And, you know, it was like, whatever, you know, I can't do math right now, but 5 or 6 in the afternoon, and my wife's trying to put him down.
Yeah.
And, you know, and she's a trooper, you know, she's a trooper, dude. I've been touring a lot more, you know, once we had kids. It was a little bit before, but it just, you know, every year gets bigger and better. And every tour I do gets bigger and better. And, you know, all these things and these opportunities, especially this one, was something I couldn't say no to. So to be honest, man, I got to give it up to the wife. You know, I couldn't do it on my own without her.
I agree.
So she helps me out a lot, but having the ability to FaceTime the kids and the wife, you know, daily was a savior for sure. It makes things a lot better. You can talk to them. Yeah, you know, my kids are pretty young still, so they'll be on the computer and my wife will put the phone down in front of them and they're just like,
exactly.
What, Dad? You know, like not paying attention at all, you know, but at least I got to see him and say hi. And, you know, my daughter's still like super young. So it's like, hi, Daddy. And then TV.
So same on my side. I have to give kudos to my wife and my parents and her parents and the huge extended family that helped take care of my kids when I was gone. Totally not possible without the support of this community around my family. And it's extremely, I mean, I'm very grateful that all these people help me when I'm out playing shows and scratching that itch that I have, that insatiable itch.
No, it's difficult, man. It takes a village sometimes. And I'll tell you what, I want to give a big shout out to my in-laws. My wife and I live with them. They're great people. And again, if they weren't involved helping out with the kiddos sometimes, like I wouldn't be able to go on tour for that amount of time. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for helping.
Hell yes. You gotta imagine like back in the day, like we can just use our phone and like hop into our house basically back in the day.
Yeah.
There was nothing. There was like those days when you feel like shit and hypothetically hungover and you're like walking around a city alone looking for a coffee shop to poop and you want to talk to your kids and you can't back in the day. It must have been very brutal.
Yeah. No, let's see. I started Splattered when I was 28, got married when I was 28. We didn't have kids for a while, but at that point in time, I don't think there was Zoom or any kind of video chatting at that point.
There was
even
like
then it was
Skype back then, but it sort of sucked.
Yeah. But I remember even then being kind of difficult, you know, no kids, but just like, you know, trying to keep in touch and saying hi to the wife and different time zones. Or like the first time I went out to Europe, like I don't have Wi-Fi,
exactly.
You know, so I bought the plan this time twice as I went along. Cause you know,
you gotta top it up.
So much time
you gotta top it up
on Instagram as well, you know, doing nothing. You gotta,
because keep that in mind, people, that we're always like, there's Wi-Fi at every venue. This is what we tell ourselves, but it tends to be the worst Wi-Fi in the world.
Terrible Wi-Fi.
So buy the plan, people. There's a great app called Air Allo. check it out, people. If you're traveling around the world, they give you great rates. And then I'm just saying that out of pure, for myself, I get nothing out of this. They're not a sponsor, but hypothetically, I should hit them up.
There you go. You should. I got T-Mobile, dude.
I'm thinking about it right now, actually.
I have a T-Mobile, and there's an app, and it was like super easy. Like, I didn't have it the first 5 days, but it popped up, and it's like, well, you have a little bit of free whatever left. Push this button for $50, and we'll give you like, this much data. Dude, I burned that in 2 weeks, and I had to do another one.
It's great.
For another $50.
One of the cryptopsy dudes was just crushing his data, but I have a segment I like to call Fight the Hops, where I ask my guests a short-term goal, something that they hope to accomplish within the next month, within the next 2 months. What are you doing right now, Travis, to fight the hops?
That's a great question. I have a pretty cool, interesting answer. I can't say much about this project, but what I've never done in a band is vocals. And there is a potential local OSDM band, old school death metal band, starting. There's about 6 demo songs right now. There's no spots available except vocals, and
you want in.
I want, dude. The riffs are friggin' sick, and I got my son doing death metal vocals running around the house all the time, and I'm just saying it's possible. Yeah, something I've never done. Very interested. Always wanted to try. So I don't know. Like, could be a pipe dream, but I'm hoping that it's possible. So
it's totally possible. Just relax, and it's all about air. That's all you got to think about.
There you go, man. There you go. I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to make it happen.
That's it. Just got to practice.
I've always played acoustic guitar and sang. I'm not saying I'm a great singer, but
don't you sing Radiohead?
I've always done
Radiohead that. Creep.
We did that.
Yes, we did that
together.
Yeah.
That I sing it to my daughter all the time.
That's it.
Yeah. So I've always done that, and like a long time, but way before metal, I used to write songs and lyrics and stuff like that. So it's kind of it comes easy. So there's one song I'm working on right now. We'll see what happens, but unfortunately, I can't say anything about it.
Fight the hops and make it happen. Yeah,
I'm gonna make it happen, baby. Making it happen.
You're putting in the universe. It's going to happen now. I like making beer collabs. I've released over 80 beers in the past 5 years. I would love if you made a beer, but it doesn't have to be that. I'd like to hear what the perfect collab for you would be. Hypothetically, it could be with Ghost Town, and it could be a reality eventually. But take it in your direction that you want to.
So it's funny you asked this, because at one point I knew one of the guys that worked/owned Ghost Town. It's been a few years since I've talked to him. He moved. I don't think he is in the company anymore or whatever. But long story short, I knew him, and we were talking. At the time, Splattered was at its height locally. And basically what we talked about, it never came to fruition, unfortunately, but what we talked about was making a beer after one of our song titles, which was called Sewage Spewage.
Ooh.
And
green beer.
At the time I was like, dude, fuck all these IPAs. Let's make one that tastes like Bud Light, but it's in this can, and and all this stuff and whatever. And it was funny because he's like, that's funny because that's what I drink when I make beer, so that I can keep the buzz going at a low level the whole time. Again, it didn't ever happen, unfortunately. But that's a lighter blonde beer that you can drink a lot of, that has killer artwork like this great Inhume beer.
We could call it LaBerge Light.
LaBerge.
LaBerge Light.
I hit up Dom and asked him, I'm like, how do you say my name properly? I was like, is it LaBerge? And he's like, no.
C'est LaBerge.
Yeah, LaBerge. Yeah, there you go. LaBerge.
Shout out to Dom Grimard, who filled in for Cryptopsy, has been filling in for Cryptopsy since Ollie's so busy with cattle. We love you, bud, and we miss you. And if you're listening, I say knock, 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 and only he will understand that.
There you go. Dom, I love you, buddy. I miss you.
Hell yes, I love that. One last question, and you may have the answer for this, but hypothetically, it's just prevention and Bud Light. It happens to everyone. It happened to me probably twice on the tour, which is pretty good out of all the days. I am proud of myself. I feel like I was slightly more responsible than I have been on tour. What is your hangover cure?
You know, it's funny because I didn't really feel that hungover either, and there were some nights we tied it on.
Yeah, I had two. Definitely after Martigny, that tiny little living room that we played, where the guy was far too generous with everything. Muffy, who is a Vox and Hops alumni, whose episode will have come out before you at this point. But yeah,
was that Switzerland? The one and only show where we had an open bar.
It was insane.
Yeah, we were all feeling rough the next day, brother. But okay, so my cure is, I'll keep it short. But in our 20s, when my wife and I had our little apartment, we used to rage all weekend long, dude. And we used to just not do anything, just lay in bed all day. So there's a few different ways I'll kill it. Again, on tour, it wasn't that bad. I just wake up and kind of keep drinking, maybe take a nap, whatever. You got to get up and sweat it out. So you either do some hard labor digging work outside, or you go on a run, or you work out. You have to sweat it out. Or my go-to is like a big, huge breakfast, huge greasy cheeseburger, something like that. The hair of the dog will always help a little bit, especially if you're trying to rage again the next day. If you're going on a bender for a few days, you just keep drinking.
That's dangerous. The second day, but, the third day, the anxiety is really strong.
Big time. I've seen a lot of drinks and pills on the internet for, to combat that, but never tried it. So I just stick with that.
Not worth it. Stick to one bender, people, one night, and then take a break, and then come back in a few days.
Yeah, but it was never that bad. And Jack got me on the gentleman's cocktail, the gin and tonics. And so, dude, I love them, man. Like I used to drink whiskey and it just would wreck me. So the gin's not bad. It's clear, possibly healthier, maybe.
Zach looks good. I don't know what he's up to. But
well, look at Zach. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see him lift a single weight the whole goddamn tour.
Yet his biceps were friggin' huge the entire time. I don't know how he does it.
Shout out to Zach. Again,
go,
Travis,
man.
Thank you so much for taking the time, hanging out with me, talking about life, talking about music, talking about craft beer, talking about the tour we just wrapped up. I miss you. I'm happy we did this. I'm looking forward to the next one already. Massive cheers.
Dude, it was so awesome. Thank you so much. It's a great time.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. Man, this was awesome. I love Travis. Did we ever connect on that tour? Some people you just, you're on tour and you connect with them and it's just a cool vibe. And that was exactly what happened with Travis, the true professional, just jumping in, filling in on bass for a band and just totally being cool on top of that. Excellent human. Love him very much. He's started doing vocals in a band recently. He sent me some demo stuff and he was like, do you think I can do it? And I was like, hell yes, you can do it. So massive cheers to you, Travis. You rule. I can't wait to hang out with you again. Very, very stoked for everything you got going on. Just keep doing it, bud. You know that I love you very, very much. Cheers. The Vox and Hops Metal Podcast is brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts. I hope you have a killer rest of the week. I will be back next week with another episode on Tuesday. But until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.